I want to give a shout out to Lexus. You may or may not have heard of Lexus. Lexus is a company that makes cars. No, that's of course it's the luxury arm of Toyota. I just got finished, just turned it in this afternoon with the 2020 ES300h. This is the hybrid sedan. It is a $53,000 hybrid sedan, and I had a great time with it. It was a lot of fun to drive. For those of you who are big on Russell trivia, you might remember that one of my very favorite cars of all time is the GS 350 hybrid. This is the smaller diminutive version now that they've discontinued the GS hybrid. And why, Lexus? Why would you do that?
And this is the one that shares the Camry platform, right?
It is indeed. Yeah. Well, I mean, everything shares something now that that we have.
Right.
A new generation global architecture.
Yeah. But even the new Camrys are pretty decent. So this must be really decent.
Somebody had asked me on Twitter, like the difference between, and I got to tell you, it's significant. This is in character and the way it handles and the way it drives, it is significantly different. And there's an argument to be made for each vehicle. Yeah. And I'm going to just leave a little mystery there and say, if you want to find out more, that review should be posted the next week. So do check our YouTube channel, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. You should subscribe there. And if you click on the bell for notifications, you'll be notified when I post that review.
You recently reviewed, what was it, I don't remember the number, the UX.
The UX250h, right?
Yes, yeah. And so every time you were talking about the UX, I thought, oh, you're talking about the user interface now. Oh, no, you're talking about the car.
It's not my favorite acronym for a car name, the UX250h. It's but I really like that car. Okay, Tony.
You're wrong on every level.
So I posted a very positive review. The review, in fact, entitled, quote, "Best crossover ever," unquote.
I'm gonna rename my video to be UX250h. Russell is wrong. Okay.
And I did call Tony out in my interview, and I said,
yeah, actually,
"He's wrong. I am right. This is an amazingly cool little car."
Okay, so first, so let's do a pro con. I absolutely hate the fact that they pipe in artificial engine noise even in full EV mode. I hate it. Yes, I'm serious.
The i8.
Exactly. Imagine driving a Tesla or a Kona EV or a Rivian or Bolt, a Bolt EV as they're calling it now, of course, and they pump in through the speakers an artificial engine revving as you're speeding up, and even you're laughing, but it gets even worse. It artificial fake noise shifts gears.
Oh wow, that is worse.
Okay, Russell, tell me why that's a good idea.
At least the i3 makes sure the engine's running first.
I don't even care about that. I'll tell you why I love this car so much. One of the first things I did, this is UX stands for urban exploration. But it's based in the CHR. It's a little tiny crossover. I took that thing up 5,000 feet into the mountains in San Diego to visit a friend's horse ranch and shoot some video there. And I flogged, this is a road that I drive most of my cars on just to see how it performs. Going up the hill, in the switchbacks, how does it handle? Is it top heavy? I had a blast driving this car. It drove great, and I got 40 mpg in an SUV going up into the mountains and back.
Right, I can't argue with that. I was getting 50 plus mpg just on my regular drive to work.
Just you drive carefully, whereas I don't.
Okay, but I wasn't trying. I'm not super trying. It's just I drive smart. I wasn't holding up traffic and whatever. So yes, that is one of the great advantages, the great positives I said about the UX250h is it is an amazing, stellar hybrid vehicle.
Yes.
I I made a note in my video, and I'm going to preface this by saying one of the things that people love about the Model 3 is the minimalism of the dash and just the touchscreen. And the thing that I really do not like about the UX250H is the fact that there are no less than 37,000 buttons, switches, knobs, dials, interfaces. I'm glad you called out the touchpad because that's a piece of shit. And
the touchpad is, and I reamed Lexus again in the ES. Someday they'll get rid of that godforsaken thing because it's awful.
I spent more time looking at the touchpad and looking at the interface than I did looking at the road, and I'm pretty sure that's not what they were going for.
Are they still afraid of touchscreens?
Well, I don't know what the reasoning is behind it, but yeah, they use that touchpad in there rather than touchscreens. And you know what? It does, like this, the new ES has this beautiful 12-inch panoramic screen on the dash, and it's set back into the dash. So you really couldn't reach forward and touch it.
Yeah.
You have to use some kind of device.
Right.
So,
is that better?
Did they learn nothing from Lincoln about targeting people who are on their last car?
Yeah, somebody's on their last car. They've got the shaky hand thing, and they have to interact with the touchpad, and you got the little thing that. I mean, I was doing that, and I don't shake. Yeah. Right.
I have the same problems with it. I don't like it. It's a horrible way of controlling a computer. But I have yet to find a car company that does telematics correctly.
I know one that does a pretty good job.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah. You're going to say Ford.
Right.
Sure. Ford.
You're going to say Tesla. And I'm going to go, I think Tesla's gone too far in the other direction. I don't necessarily think everything should be done with 2 scroll buttons on a steering wheel. Mm-hmm. I think there should be some hard buttons.
That's why I like that they finally added the voice commands in. It took them way too long.
Yeah. And I'm not opposed to a few buttons. I mean, I like a well laid out steering
like a volume knob on a radio.
A good steering wheel, where you got buttons with the thumbs, and as long as it's well laid out. But what really gets me in Russell, I'm appealing to you and your graphics design and your visual acuity and everything. Imagine reading a document or an advertisement that uses 5 or 6 or 7 different fonts of different sizes, of different, bold or italic. When I sat in the cockpit of that UX250H and I saw that the entire, the air conditioning was toggle buttons, and then there's the rotary things on either side of the dash. And then there's buttons, knobs, switches, rotary, touchpad. It was chaos. It was absolute design element chaos.
I enjoyed it. It was chaos that worked for me. I understand I understand. I acknowledge all of your critiques, and they are certainly valid for some portion of the population, just as my support of that chaos appeals to some portion of the population. I think it was well done the way they did it. I think it's very rational that they had certain controls in certain places that work in a particular manner, and it worked for me. But I get it. I do understand your critique, Tony. I don't think it's artificial. I just don't agree with it.
Hey, Paul.
I am going to say that if you have not yet watched either of the reviews, there's going to be an eye in the upper right corner somewhere, maybe up here. Everyone point to the upper right corner. There's going to be an eye up there. Click that eye and you'll get direct links to the reviews.
Sorry, since we're talking about Lexus, I really like their cars, and their reliability and engineering is great, but they have a really douchebaggery thing going on right now. If you buy the older Lexus, you could get the standard remote, and you could get remote start on the factory remote. You press the lock button 3 times, hold it down, the car would remote start if you bought that option. Well, now what they're doing is after 3 years, they cripple the option unless you renew a monthly subscription.
No.
You gotta pay
Customer came
monthly
in
for.
today. My remote start stopped working. Checked the car, no fault codes. Called Lexus. Hey, what's going on? Oh, they didn't. What's Lexus called their Entune? It's Entruster.
In power? No, it's
Intubate, I think.
Or
That
no,
would be MR from Monthly Ripoff.
yeah. So
in-app.
you already have the hardware. Like I know they have an app on your phone, and I can understand if you don't.
I would get the app, yeah.
They'll disable that, but they disable the factory remote from remote starting your car unless you pay them a monthly fee.
That's freaking
That
insane.
is not cool, Lexus.
Wow.
You are right up there with all the other douchebag companies now for doing that.